Love the music. So good to have everybody here, and going to talk a little bit about Global 6 and urbanization. So behind me you see a map, and this map is moving. You see the lights are starting to come on and they're starting to change. That's urbanization. If you took a camera from outer space and you looked at the planet, this is what you would see. And you would not unreasonably conclude that we are the planet that builds cities, that does these points of light. And that is actually our history. We've been here for a very short period of time, in planetary terms, not more than 500,000 years, if that, and 50,000 of those being conscious. And this is apparently what we do. We turn on the lights. And so my story is about how we turn on those lights and how we can do that better. So the problem that we've got today is that 60% of the world is below what I call the empowerment line. This is not the poverty line. This is the line above which you have some savings, you have a roof over your head. You can basically participate in society. And two-thirds of the world doesn't have that. Hence the 6. Out of the 8 billion people, 6 billion are not above the empowerment line. And they're everywhere. They're not just in the so-called emerging markets. There are as many of them in Los Angeles or London as they are in Beijing or Bangkok. So how do we get people above this line? And the answer is to accelerate sustainable urban growth. If we look across the planet again, back to the dots, the black dots you see on this chart are basically the cities. These are the places where people have come across the line. It's 50% of growth in GDP from 2000 to 2019. It's about 3,600 microregions, but only 1% of the world's landmass, 27% of the global population, and 2 billion people. So this is where transformation happens. It's not everywhere. It's quite purposeful. As you see, there's quite a lot of it in China, but there's plenty of it elsewhere. And places that we think might be rich may in fact not be, most of the United States. So in this case, what we should be doing is thinking very carefully about our value of place, and that is what Global 6 does. So Global 6 is about the integrated definition of success. Environment, economy, and equity. These things have to go together. They all do. Every economic decision you make has an environmental and equitable consequence, and vice versa. So we're about, you can call it the triple bottom line, but it's really about the sweet spot. What are some of the things that you can do, and how do they affect the other things in an integrated fashion? We talk about planning, we talk about finance, we talk about execution. Those are the things that we need to be good at in order to catalyze urban development, in order to make those lights come on. Industrial planning, economic analysis, the future studio, where is this going? Finance is largely about investor attraction. If you go to look for money, the first thing they'll ask you is who has given you money? Who has been committed to this? Hence investors, corporate tenants, and the like. And finally, project management is largely about people. Somebody has to do this, and so you have to help build their skills. It's amazing to me that all of this seems, when I say it, to be quite straightforward, but it always feels like it's magic, in the sense that this is an art that is practiced in the dark by a relatively few number of people in a way which has incredible consequences, but we don't actually know what they are. Until you start to really bring it out into the open. And Global 6 is dedicated to bringing it out in the open. So we've worked in countries around the world. As you can see, this is a very broad plateau. A few examples here in China. We've done work in the Xi'an high-tech zone, which we designed that first as a greenfield extension of the city. Today it's one of the leading industrial zones in the world. I can't put the numbers in there. Global 6 worked with the high-tech development zone to define all those industrial clusters, to transform the state enterprises that were there, and to introduce many of the world's leading high-technology companies. We've also worked on the finance side in India, so at Amaravati. Some people may be familiar with that project. This is in the state of Telangana. It was initially the state of Andhra Pradesh, and then it became Telangana. And working with them to attract and develop and finance the project, which is to build the world's happiest city, a noble project. It was on, it was off, it's back on again. So again, these projects tend to take decades to come to fruition, but the effort is there. And then finally, we've done a lot of work in the actual execution, for example, with PropTechs, building a city development business focused around alternative accommodation. So helping to strategize, staff, and launch that digital business, which will transform the neighborhoods in which it is, and is very much positioned as an economic development tool for local governments. So with all of that, who are we? Well, of course, you see me. So I am 40 years in China, 40 years with McKinsey, and now launching Global6. But it's also a team of advisors from the architectural space, from the economic development space, and from the sustainability space. And so just a few names up there, and a global network as well. So that's it. I want to conclude with one very brief announcement. We are launching a China Urban Tech Tour, which will be taking place in the last week of August. And so I encourage all of those who you might be interested in seeing the fabulous things that are going on in China, in Chinese cities, to scan the code. It's myself and Jeff Towson, a colleague with whom I've worked quite extensively in the past on writing various things. We're going to be leading a tour around Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou to see the projects, and importantly the people, to engage in the investor conversations that are of interest, to take those technologies and those things that are happening in Chinese cities and take them back with you to wherever you come from, and to participate in them going forward. So Global 6, urban development, let's turn the lights on. Thank you.